Hey, what's up, Internet? It is the end of the first day here in Archnemesis League and the new Siege of the Atlas expansion. A lot happened today. Obviously, it's 1 a.m., so I have been playing now for more than 12 hours. And a lot's happened. So, like I mentioned before, I did league start Freezing Pulse Totems again. I had really good luck this time. I've dropped 2 logbooks, like expedition logbooks, in the campaign, and the second one gave me an exalt. The league, even outside of that drop, has been raining currency. I had like 35 chaos by the time that exalt even dropped in Act 8 or whatever it was, 8 or 9. It really feels like it's going to be one of those leagues where it just rains loot from the sky, which is nice. You know, some people don't like it, some people do, but I think it tends to make for pretty fun league starts at a minimum. It reminds me a lot of Echoes of the Atlas and Ritual League in that sense. So with all the currency I was stockpiling and that fat exalt, I bought a 5-link soul mantle, freshly nerfed. So we're on a 5-link. This was like 4 chaos. Nikikazaro. I made my own self-flagellation. I was able to afford a random splinters just off the chaos that I was farming from the campaign and the Archnemesis mobs. I still have Firewalker because I need the fire res a little bit. But I crafted my own self-flag. I still have most of that exalt. I have 67 chaos of that exalt still. So I'm sitting on that for a while. Let's jump into. Obviously, I'm still just getting. You know me. Like, I just barely get to the maps at the end of the first day. I managed to get this time a few maps in before the end of the stream. But there is something that I wanted to talk about, which is that so PoB updated not long after the league actually got rolling, right? And my estimation of Freezing Pulse Totems in the PoB that I showed in my video was way more off than I expected, and not in a good way. Hey, one of these new Eldritch things. Like, probably to the tune of like 25% off, actually. And reviewing it, I understand now that I had, like, the way those two multipliers interacted, I was just being stupid about. And it kind of skewed my perception about all of it. Now, I mean, if you league started Freezing Pulse Totems like I did, I wouldn't panic or anything. I'm not telling you the build is bricked, but I also didn't feel like I could just ignore that and leave that video up, given that that margin existed. I'm pretty frustrated about it. So at the moment, I've unlisted the video, and this League Start series is probably going to be a more clear, like, re-examination of Freezing Pulse Totems as it exists in this league. Let's go ahead and create some kind of random Archnemesis here. So if you haven't played the league yet, this is the league mechanic. It's kind of a weird cross between Metamorph and Essence, I would say, where you're kind of doing Build-A-Bear stuff with rare monsters, and they get pretty thick. But now you can only put like one component in at a time, right? So that one was Juggernaut and made him tankier. But when I come across another altar here soon, you'll see that that component is still stuck in the statue. And I can add a second component, and the rare monster that is unchanged from that totem will have the powers of both of them, but also the rewards of both of those components. And so there's a little bit of strategy to, you know, using the component that you want the most rewards out of first, right? So if you have like a currency one, you know, you probably want to pop your currency or your unique one at low level first, and then if you can survive like, you know, 2 or 3 more, then you can get that bonus. See, I still have the Harbinger currency in this, and I could add, like, you know, where's the toxic one? That one's pretty. Maybe I don't have one. On this one, so these little boxes around here indicate that there's like a recipe. So this is a Hexer one, and certain combinations do different things. This is a recipe I haven't discovered, so I'm not sure what this one will do yet. Ow. As you can see, they actually are pretty thick boys. Doesn't help that he is immune to hexes. But yeah, that's pretty much all I understand about the league mechanics so far. I like it. You just get these as random drops. Usually you get like 2 to 3 per zone. And you can use quite a few, right? Like you can use 4 per zone, but you won't get 4 back. So you can kind of save them up for a while. And, you know, chain them back to back in maps and use up a bunch. But if you ignore it for a while, you'll stack up a whole bunch. And I feel like the inventory management of this might get a little bit annoying. Anyway, not to get too off topic about Freezing Pulse Totems, I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm still pretty upset that I... Whoa. Oh, that's a rogue exile. Please die. I'm pretty upset that I was so off. I mean, the only other explanation is that there's something wrong with POB's calculation, and I looked over it after the stream for like a good hour, and I'm pretty certain I'm just an idiot. Obviously, I'm not trying to intentionally mislead anybody. That's exactly why I decided to unlist the video for now until I have a better idea of, you know, whether I would want to make a new video for it or not. I do think the build, like so far, as you can tell, like I'm not exactly, you know, suffering here, right? I'm not. The build is not bricked. It's just when the reality is that far off from my estimation, I have to be honest about what I should do about it, right? So for now, I'm going to leave that video unlisted, so that I can just continue my league start, and then at the end of wherever I decide, you know, is the end of league start for this build, we'll reevaluate and see if it still feel like, you know, I've talked about this quite a few times, but a build is always relative, not just to like the POB numbers, but to the content, right? Like a POB of today, back in Legion, would absolutely whip that game, just destroy it. So like I don't think the POB looks that bad, even though it is that far off, right? And you've always got Ice Spear to do plenty of single target DPS, so it's not like you're going to run into a single target wall necessarily either, but it does, I think, merit just a reevaluation then of the build against the content, so I can see if those numbers actually feel like they're enough. Because if they don't, you know, there's going to come a point, just like with Holy Flame Totems, like where maybe it is time to hang it up for a build, you know. I don't know if that's this patch or not, but I think we're going to find out together. If you started Freezing Pulse Totems because of my video and you're like upset about it, and you're mad at me, I don't blame you. I'm pretty bummed about it myself, but again, like I said, the build's not bricked, and I wouldn't like panic or anything. It's just not as strong as I expected it to be, at least according to the POB update, you know. And I'm pretty sure I understand why now too. So we'll find out how it feels. I think, you know, as a league start, if you just are looking for a build that's going to get you to yellows or whatever and farm currency, I still wouldn't hesitate to recommend the build at all. But this is more about figuring out whether Freezing Pulse has the entire breadth of content, the progression curve that it used to. Because if it doesn't, then, you know, like I said, it might just be time to hang it up with Freezing Pulse once and for all. We'll find out together, I guess. But yeah, that is going to be it for day one. Despite that snafu, I'm actually really enjoying the league. You know, it's not like the build has presented me any issues so far. And I'm enjoying the Archnemesis mechanic. As far as the Atlas skill tree, I don't really have enough points to say much about it. I know a lot of content creators rush to make videos about the Atlas skill tree. It seemed a little premature to me because I don't understand the value necessarily of like Eater of Worlds or Searing Exarch nodes. We're going to have to get deeper into the Atlas to figure out, how important are these? How much value do these represent? I have no idea. I could probably put together a guess about strategies about cheaper farming methods, like utilizing Fortune Favors the Brave. That's a plan that I have for later, but I'll probably just wait and talk about that when I have enough skill points to test it and see how it goes. For now, my only plan on the Atlas skill tree is to just pick up Spoils of War for these rare duplication nodes, which are really valuable. This is like a surprisingly high value node. You don't actually have a ton of rares per map, especially in the early phases of progression. So getting like 3 extra rares winds up being a lot of drops, particularly like map drops. So I consider these really high value. I'm actually going to pick up my second one here. But other than this, I'm probably going to come out straight here and try to get to these shaping wheels, which are nodes that give you higher chances for maps to drop a tier higher, kind of like how the old Atlas bonus used to work. All of the different bonuses you used to get from Atlas completion are now spread across like the travel nodes and these shaping wheels. There's like 4 nodes in total. So that's basically what I'm doing. I'm going to beeline basically for all the shaping nodes. I'm going to come through the Kirak line on the left. Kirak is kind of a replacement for Zana now. So Zana missions are now Kirak missions. I haven't really encountered any of these scouting reports. Or I don't even have any missions for him yet. So to be determined how valuable all that is. But it's the most direct path to get to these other 2. And it makes sense to me to reinvest your skill points into Atlas progression, kind of like how you used to invest into Atlas completion for the sake of your map sustain. I'm sure it's going to be pretty similar here. So yeah, let's wrap it up here. I've had a pretty good first day, other than POB swiftly kicking me between the legs and making me feel a bit stupid. But we'll figure out together whether Freezing Pulse Totem still has it or doesn't. I have a feeling it will, but I also have a feeling that when builds like Siege Ballista exist, as far as like Hierophant options, I don't know. I have that suspicion that it's going to be much harder than I expected to recommend Freezing Pulse compared to a build like that, especially when you can level it with, something like Explosive Arrow, and it turns out pretty good. We'll see. If you want to come and see all of this learning live, I will be streaming a ton of this league over at twitch.tv/WallachTV. And yeah, that'll do it. I am dead tired. I'm going to go get some sleep. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.